What's going on, YouTube? Jeff coming at ya. I've been reading some of the comments of my older foxbody EFI to carb swap videos, and some people were wondering, how I went about doing it, especially with the whole, fuel injection pump and tank and everything that was originally in the car and stuff like that. How did I do the swap and what's my setup? Obviously, I went the cheapest route possible, and all my parts are absolute garbage, and that's how I love it. First, let's go to the back and let's talk about the tank setup. I pulled the EFI tank out of the car, and I also pulled the fuel pickup and the fuel sock and stuff out of the tank. That wasn't going to work in my application. Might be a little hard to see. I drilled a hole in the tank here, and this is actually for diesel truck applications. But anyways, this is a two-piece design here. There's a big O-ring washer, and that allows me to run two AN or hose barb fittings. These are both, I can't remember what size thread pitch they are, but they're running 3/8 MPT hose right now and stuff. And I got this Parker push lock hose, which is actually fantastic stuff. I have it running the absolute length of the car. It's good for like 300 working PSI. It's good for tons of industrial grade solvents and stuff. Super cheap, super easy. When you use these push lock fittings, don't even need a hose clamp. These things will not blow off. Don't ask me how I know. I work in the industry. This used to be really clear. This is just a plastic filter from Auto Value or wherever I got it. And this is my knockoff. It's Performance World knockoff of a Holly Blue pump, and I think it'll run up to 14 PSI. So this is the style of pump that you need for carb applications. Okay, so like I said, I took out the stock pickup and everything in the tank, drilled a hole, bolted that. This cost me 50 bucks off eBay. This was probably about 125. These are in Canadian dollars, mind you. So somewhere over 100 bucks for this pump and the regulator that I'm about to show you, okay? So like I said, I have that Parker line running throughout the whole car, and then it comes down to this regulator right here, okay? This is my fuel in, gets regulated. Whatever is not, I have it right now, I think between 5.5 and 6 PSI. And then that's a return line right there, and it's running back to the tank. Fellas, you definitely want to do this style of setup with a return tank. It really helps for fuel boiling and stuff like that. Hard starts in hot temperatures and stuff. It works really well. You don't want to be really running these carbs deadheaded and stuff. This makes a world of improvement. And so then before it goes into the carb, it runs through another $2 clear plastic filter. So I actually installed this about a month ago, same with that other one, so you can see how the elements have already deteriorated that thing. I am probably going to run to a nice threaded metal style filter on the back. Then it comes up here, goes into a little T, and then it goes into a gauge. This is crucial too. I like the gauge a lot because I can run my fuel pump without the engine on or with the engine running and stuff, and I can really dial in my fuel pressure, and that helps with my float settings and stuff. You can see they're right sort of halfway. That back one needs to come up a little bit. Okay, so that's how I ran my fuel system. Cheap, easily functionable, okay? Under 200 bucks and just a bit of time and stuff. Obviously, I got the Summit Carb again. That's my second one. If you guys buy one, keep it. I should have never have sold it. I tried going with bigger carbs and full double pumpers and stuff, and just for what I could afford, used carbs and stuff, they were all crap. Summit has an amazing carb, annular boosters, clear glass sights, which really help tune it in. It's freaking awesome, okay? I also have the Summit, hard to see here. That's the Summit knockoff of the YN Street Warrior dual plane intake manifold. Makes great power from like 1500 to 6000 RPM. Really good street manifold, pulls really strong. I got it mated with some Trick Flow 170 twisted wedge heads, and I also have the Trick Flow stage 1 camshaft. Yeah, this car screams. So that's the intake I'm running. I also have a 2-inch phenolic open spacer. Now I know what you guys are saying, you know, dual plane, I should have the 4-hole spacer. I ran both of them. I tried either or, and I felt on the top end I gained a lot more grunt with the open hole spacer. They did some stuff on Engine Masters, if you guys follow that, David Freiberger and Steve Dulcich and stuff like that on Motor Trend on Demand and stuff. You'll gain top end with the open hole. You'll gain a lot more mid-range and low range with the 4-hole and stuff. I don't know. I like the open hole. It sort of makes it act like it's like an open plenum style intake. Sort of gets the best of both worlds. Worked really good for me. Last year before the engine was rebuilt, I made 254 wheel, 258 torque. It was pretty strong. Predicting I'm well over 300 this year, but I won't know till next year when I'm back at the dyno. So there is air and fuel of how I did it on my car. And then the last thing I did on the cheap was the good old eBay HEI distributor. I went with this setup just for the sole fact that it was cheap, and it's literally a 1-wire fire. There's 1 wire there. That's my tack. Yeah, I did that just for simplicity. I ripped out all the wiring in the car. I didn't want to deal with an MSD box and stuff. Actually, I shouldn't say I didn't want to deal with an MSD box. I didn't have the money to deal with an MSD box. I literally had, you know, I sold everything EFI on the car, and I think I made over $1,000, and that's the money I had to convert this into carb, and that's what I worked with and stuff. Yeah, going on 2 years strong with that distributor. It pulls really good and stuff. I surprise a lot of people with this hunk. You'll see I got the big tires back off again. I had to bolt the small ones on because I got the stock springs in there, and man, did the back end rub hard. So I got another set of springs right there we're gonna throw in. Might even throw some footballs and inflate them up and stuff to make sure that those big meats right there clear. Like I said, got an interior now and stuff. Got my keys around here somewhere. And I just did the most basic wiring and stuff. Okay. And okay. Key on, that flips power to the box. And we got ignition, fuel, alternator, fan. Bump it over. Simple as that. So guys, that's how I went and did my EFI to carb swap on my 86 foxbody that was originally an EFI car and stuff. I did it super cheap, runs good. This winter just gonna be, well, surprise surprise, redoing a bit more wiring because I rushed at it again. You know, wiring my battery a little different, or my fan a little differently. This was all just an absolute rat's nest. Again, I'm gonna move the battery actually to the trunk in a box, so I just have 1 wire going to the back there. And I might run a different fuse box in conjunction with that racing panel on the inside, just to give me a few more fuses and more power lines instead of just doing tons of splicing in off the terminals here. But anyways, guys, I hope that answers some of your guys' questions and stuff. Feel free to, you know, drop me a message and stuff like that. If you got any other questions, love to help you guys out and stuff. Get those cars on the road running. Sometimes things can be done super cheap, and like I said, this car freaking rips. I'm guessing probably in and around 325 wheel this year with my little junkyard stroker swap setup that I did. I'm also going to be ditching power steering pump, even though it's brand new, and mechanical water pump, going electric water pump, no power steering, and doing a drop down bracket on the alternator in hopes of trying to pick up that last 20 horse and try and get this thing in and around 350 wheel. Because if I get 350 wheel, I think this thing will scream, and then all it takes is another 150 plate shot to in and around 500 horsepower, and that's all I want to be. So stay tuned, guys. Like, share, subscribe.